Blessings, beautifuls. How are you? Hope you're doing well. I'm back at my favorite tree again, making another video for you guys. Sorry if the camera's shaking a bit. It's just really windy out here, so I'm hoping you can hear me. I'm hoping you can see me. I'm just trusting that it will all come together somehow. And I wanted to make a quick video once again, just sharing some experiences, some tips, some thoughts, some reflections. I'm just feeling very inspired these days. I think it's a Gemini thing this time of the year in June. It's the beginning of June, and it's right in the middle of Gemini, which is all about communication. I think it's connected to Mercury, which is all about communication. So anyway, yeah, that's probably why I'm feeling like sharing so much on YouTube and sharing so much stuff. So I'm back again in my favorite tree, enjoying the view, reflecting. And this year has been a big year. I don't know how you're feeling, but this year has been a huge year. And I think when people go through a lot of changes, let me adjust the camera. When people go through a lot of changes, travel sometimes comes up. So I felt like this was a good time to share some things that I've learned about traveling. I did another video on traveling with Locs, but this is just a very general video about traveling in general, and specifically about solo travel, things that I personally have learned on solo trips and have loved on my solo trips. So, I'm a bit of a travel addict. I think if I had tons and tons of money, I don't think I would ever stop traveling, to be honest. So at the moment, it's a nice balance between having a home, but as well being able to travel. So slow travel, basically, which is what I'm doing. But a lot of the times I do travel alone, and I find that although not everyone's into it, it's one of the ways to learn so much about yourself and to learn so much about who you are and, through experiences. So one of the first things I learned through solo travel is the whole idea of trusting yourself completely. I mean, there's so many ways of gaining this trust, but when you're put into a completely new environment where people maybe don't talk your language, for example, it can be a huge change or a shift where you just have no one else to face or to share your experiences with apart from yourself. So there's this huge trust and this deep trust that has to come up. So trust and learning to trust instinct specifically was one of the things that I'm starting and I'm relearning to value every time I travel. And along the way of traveling, I realized that it doesn't matter how many times I've been on the plane or even to the same location. I always get the same feeling, and I talk to other travelers as well about how they feel when they're going to different locations on their own. And it seems like there's always this feeling of having butterflies in your stomach, even if you've been to the location several times. There's something about solo travel that brings that up. And it's a mixture between nervousness and excitement. I like to look at it as this raw ball of energy that you can use. And apparently, from a lot of the videos that I see, fear is almost the same energy as excitement. You can almost retrain it to be excitement. So anxiety, fear, challenging emotions, you can retrain it to realize that it's the same as excitement, the feeling of excitement, when your heart is racing and you're feeling like you're completely going out of your comfort zone. And traveling alone sometimes does put you in that situation, even if you have been to the same location several times. So I find that in time, getting out of my comfort zone has become so much more easier. Especially through solo travel, because you're just learning to do things alone, and you're learning to navigate and to maybe push the boundaries of your own comfort zone. Just enjoying all the birds and the sounds around me. So getting out of your comfort zone in general is never an easy thing, and I think it doesn't have to relate to traveling, but anything in life, when you're getting out of your comfort zone, expect to feel the fear, and to get comfortable with it, which is another thing that I love about traveling alone, just getting really comfortable with all the emotions that come up, especially when you're put in a situation where you're really unsure about what to do. For example, just the most simplest things. Maybe you don't know how to get from point A to point B and you're struggling with your map or something like that. It's in those moments that you find that kind of inner strength, where you get almost comfortable with being uneasy or out of your comfort zone, and just learning to go through it, not to avoid it, but to go through it completely. And me personally, sharing a little bit about myself, I'm quite an introverted person. For the most part, I can be very introverted. So traveling alone can be very liberating because it's literally just being by yourself, and you can choose what you want to do. You can choose when you want to go somewhere. You can choose how you experience something, and you can really go deep within. One of the things that I find helpful when I'm traveling is to find nature spots, just like the one I'm in now, where I can ground my energy. So when I am feeling really overwhelmed, especially in a big city, and I'm feeling like I need to just to connect back with myself, I find that if I have go-to spots, like nature spots where I can just get within and be more grounded and connect with nature, then I feel like I can recharge my energy much more easily. So that's been a really huge help for me. And the last thing I would say is that traveling's not for everyone, but it's certainly a way of breaking the way we think about the world. Media sadly always shows the worst of the world. That's one thing I learned along the way. They'll never show really the nice areas, sometimes they do, but for the most part, if you're watching the news or if you're watching documentaries, a lot of the focus and the agenda setting is showing the worst of the world. And so many times I've been to locations expecting it to be one thing and then realizing it's something completely different, or the people are completely different, or the way of communicating is completely different. Sometimes it's really positive, sometimes it can be even more challenging, so it goes both ways. But traveling does that. It really opens up your mind to realizing that what your experiences are might be completely different from someone else's experiences. You might look up online and find out information about a certain location, and when you go there, you realize that the information you were giving doesn't apply to you or doesn't feel right for you. So breaking and reshaping the way you look at the world is a wonderful thing, especially when you're traveling alone and you have no choice but to interact with the world around you and the people and the location completely. So I think those are the main things I can think about. But I honestly encourage everyone, if you're thinking about taking a solo trip, go for it. Even if you're an experienced traveler, you'll still get the butterflies in your stomach. There will still be situations where we're thinking about different scenarios that could happen. This is just part of it, but it will feel so good after the first time you've traveled alone. So I really encourage you to take small steps, even if it's just to the nearest town that you've never been to, and experience solo travel. And slowly it gets much easier. It gets so much more easier. So I hope that helped and inspired you in some way. I'm going to take you around, show you where I am. If you haven't seen my other videos, I'll show you where my favorite spot is. So hold on a second as I get up. This is my go-to place in Barcelona when I'm just feeling like I need to chill out and relax and just to get away from it all. So take care of yourselves, and I'll make a video again shortly sharing and just being inspired along the way. Take care of yourselves. Sat now.